Good Monday evening. Welcome to Midwest Sportsnet. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams. We've had a little bit of technical difficulty, so we're just a little bit past the 8 o'clock tentative start time. I guess that's what makes it tentative. But we're live now, and I am glad that you can be along for the ride with us here on Midwest Sports Now, here on the YouTube channel Midwest Sportsnet. Please do consider liking and subscribing to this channel because we're going to talk about small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond. We're going to talk about NAIA football tonight, so let's get right into it. We'll be talking about the top 5 performances in Week 9, but let's go beyond the 5 because there were a lot of great performances, as there always are in the NAIA each and every week. So let's get started with Southeastern. The Fire come away with a victory 41-13 over Florida Memorial. It was Kalen Williams 39 for 19. Let me slow down and start this again. 19 for 34 passing, 185 yards. Didn't have any touchdowns, didn't throw any picks either. He did have, however, 17 carries for 141 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns as well. Brian Bell also on the ground. Ground game big for the Fire this week. 19 carries, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Again, the Fire 41-13 victors over the Florida Memorial Lions. Hey, Varsity Sports Show, thanks for watching tonight. Appreciate you. Thanks, Vince. Hope you're doing well out there. Please continue watching because we have a lot more on tap. Chris Ackleshin from Carroll with a big day on Saturday. Carroll victorious 37-3 over Eastern Oregon. Ackleshin 9 receptions, 158 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the day. Let's go from one side of the country to the other. Let's go to Bluefield, and the Rams were victorious 54-26 over Union. And one of our favorite players here on the program, Jaquan Ebron, 7 catches, 133 yards, and 3 touchdown receptions on the day. Continuing beyond the 5 here as we move on down, central part of the country, Southwestern Assemblies of God, Sagu, with a 30-0 blanking of Wayland Baptist. It was Keaton Dudick who ran all over the place last week, 300 yards for Dudick on the ground. Paul Odidi did it through the air, 8 receptions, 190 yards receiving on the day, and 2 touchdown catches for Sagu. Javion Taylor for Faulkner helped get things going. He had a great day, receiving day, 9 receptions, 105 yards, 3 touchdown catches, and Faulkner with a 44-30 victory over Cumberland on Saturday. Had a little help with his friends as well. Drexlin Allen with 8 carries, 82 yards, 2 more touchdowns. Faulkner with the big victory over Cumberland. Now, I'm going to slow down just a little bit because I think I was picking up the pace a lot, trying to make sure I was on the air on time. I'm going to slow it down a little bit because this is a good point to stop and say, hey, congratulations to a program. Central Methodist, the Eagles, pick up their first victory of the season. Season started on a very, very rough note, and from there, it took, I believe, 4 weeks before Central Methodist even put points on the board. Well, finally come away with a victory and a big day for Matthew Luna. Luna, 14 for 26 passing, 242 yards through the air, had a touchdown, but that's not all. They had to come from behind, had to have a fourth quarter rally in this, and Luna, who'd had 6 carries for negative 27 yards coming into this rush, had a 3-yard touchdown run, the game-winning touchdown with 2 minutes, 34 seconds left on the clock, and the Eagles come away with a victory, 14-9 over Missouri Valley. Big win for Central Methodist. So that had to be on our list going beyond the 5. Matthew Luna with a big day. He had 218 yards of total offense, but was responsible for both touchdowns, 1 through the air, 1 on the ground. Let's stay in the heart for just a moment. Go to Culver Stockton. Jace Orndorff has had a great year. He continues it on Saturday. 33 for 47 passing, 388 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Culver Stockton, 49. William Penn, 21. Another great day for Jace Orndorff. DJ Sears for Bethel. We're going to talk about Bethel, and we're going to talk about Bethel here. But let's go with the Kansas version of Bethel. DJ Sears continues to have a great job leading the Wildcats. Bethel has just 1 loss on the season, which reminds me, programming note, we were not able to do the program talking last week about the NAIA football playoff picture. We're going to be on that. It's going to be either Tuesday or Wednesday. We're going to be talking about the playoff picture in the NAIA and who potentially will be there. I know there's a couple of weeks left to play, and we're not doing it like the NCAA, and we're not going to talk about some committee with what they think 4 or 5 weeks out. We're going to tell you what we think. Is that the same? Probably, but we're going to have fun with it anyway. So NAIA potential playoff picture either Tuesday or Wednesday night right here on Midwest Sports Net. Now, let's talk about Bethel. We said Sears, 20 carries, 119 yards, 3 touchdowns, Bethel 31, Tabor 14. And again, the Threshers, just 1 loss on the season. Bethel with just 1 loss on the season. The top of the KCAC is a mess. Last year, it was like this. It was a mess. Kansas Wesleyan, Southwestern, Bethel, all with 1 loss, shared the conference championship. 2 of those teams got to make it into the playoffs. 1 of them did not, and that was Bethel last year. This year, Bethel in a little bit better position, but there's a lot more left to be played. The thing about it is there's still 1 more team that can factor into this that's on the outside probably looking in. That's Kansas Wesleyan. Big matchup, Kansas Wesleyan and Southwestern just a little bit later on. So keep that in mind. But Bethel and Avila each with 1 loss. Things are kind of jumbled up there at the top of the KCAC. Let's continue on. Move back across the Mississippi and talk about Georgetown. The Tigers continuing to have a great, great season. They've done it with defense. Let's talk some offense now too, okay? Isaiah Cobb, 17 carries, 45 yards on the ground, 2 touchdown carries. Darius Neal, 16 carries, 135 yards rushing, 2 touchdown carries. Georgetown, big over Campbellsville, 65-13. Now let's go to the Wildcats. Bethel with another big win. And this one, this was big. This is huge. We've talked about Bethel's offense some. Let's talk about Bethel's defense. The Wildcats' defense, this is probably the epitome of bend but don't break in a way that I don't think too many people have ever seen. Bethel scores 1 offensive touchdown. That was midway through the first quarter. Get on the board first. Lindsey Wilson comes back, scores a touchdown. It's tied. Bethel didn't score an offensive touchdown from there on out. No more offensive scores. As a matter of fact, the Wildcats put up only 182 yards of total offense on the day. Compare that to Lindsey Wilson, the Blue Raiders, with 495 yards of total offense. You hear just those 2 numbers alone. Who's going to win this? Lindsey Wilson, right? Not quite the case, though. Bethel 21-16. Demetrius Gilbert with a 96-yard kickoff return in the third quarter. That was followed in the third quarter by Marquise Taylor and an 85-yard fumble recovery, scoop and score for the touchdown. The defense, special teams both kick in. Bethel gets 1 offensive touchdown, 1 special teams touchdown, 1 defensive touchdown. Puts up 182 yards of total offense compared to Lindsey Wilson's 495, and still comes away with the victory. The defense, big, bent a little bit, but didn't give up the big score. After the touchdown early, held Lindsey Wilson to just 3 field goals for the rest of the day. 21-16, the Wildcats are still undefeated. Top 5 in my book. And we'll know a little bit more about that, I think, from the media poll. Shout out to NAIA F-Ball as Corey and John are out tonight with their kids trick-or-treating out there. And so their show's going to be live tomorrow night. So be watching for that to see what the media poll says. I believe Bethel's going to be in the top 5. There you go. Let's talk one more game. This from the GPAC. Midland. We've talked about Midland. Levi Market. Midland, 25 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 reception, 37 yards, 1 more touchdown. Midland, 41, Concordia 31. The Bulldogs have had an up and down season. Midland comes away with the victory. Now, this is also something we'll talk about with the playoff picture, but Midland's still in control of its playoff destiny. The 1 loss to Morningside. Have a couple more big games coming, including a huge one against Northwestern, also with just the 1 loss, also to Morningside. So Midland is in control of its playoff destiny, needs to win out. If it wins out, I don't think there's any way that the Warriors would not be in the playoffs. I think that they would stay in the top 20, which you would have to do. Wouldn't get the automatic bid as the conference champion. I don't see that there's any way that the Warriors would not be an at-large playoff attendee, if you will, at that point in time. So shout out to Midland. By the way, Concordia, Corel Colmoose is now the leader all time in he became the leader all time in receptions at Concordia. He's crossed the 200 reception mark now. Shout out to Colmoose. Had 12 receptions, 96 yards. Didn't score a touchdown this week. However, Luke Lang picked up the slack there. 5 receptions, 77 yards, 3 touchdowns. Concordia still comes up short by 10 to Midland. Keep watching Midland. This is a huge, huge matchup. Excuse me. 2 weeks, Saturday, Midland and Northwestern. Hey, Jake, thanks for watching tonight. Yeah, let's go NAIA. Talking some more NAIA football. So let's do this. Let me turn the paper over now and go over to the top 5. We're going to talk about the top 5. And when we do that nowadays, they have a graphic to go along with it. I like the graphics. They're fun. Anyway, so here we go. That's a look at your top 5 performers. Lots more than just those 5. Let's start at the top. Marquise Burgess for Kaiser. The Seahawks continuing to roll. Kaiser with those 3 losses early on to Division II, and Division I teams, but they're undefeated in NAIA play, and they defeated a very tough Ave Maria team. 27-21 on Saturday. Marquise Burgess getting things done. 36 carries, 234 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day. A big deal there. And by the way, don't think we're sleeping on what Ave Maria has done. Not going to have the record to show for it, but really it's been a good season. This is a big win for Kaiser. And they, again, put themselves in that position for a playoff possibility. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Let's move on down the line. Pikeville, the Bears, along with the Mustangs, because it seems like the Mustangs are here all the time. The Bears are in our top 5 for the 2nd consecutive week. Xavier Malone, 25 for 42 passing, 242 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Also had 9 carries for 15 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. It was a 4th quarter rally, and Malone led the way. Pikeville with a big win, 28-24 over Thomas More. Moving on down, Reinhardt. I don't think we've had Reinhardt in our top 5 this year yet. Well, they are right now. Reinhardt, a couple of good players. Hunter Archers with 9 for 15 for 316 yards passing. Now consider that for a moment. 9 completed passes for 316 yards. I mean, you're talking about right at about 35 yards per completed pass, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. And on the day, Navarre Solomon, 4 of those catches for 132 yards, obviously averaging more than 30 yards per catch right there. That would be 34 yards per catch. 3 touchdowns as well. So 3 of the receptions, 4 touchdowns, averaging 34 yards per reception, passing on the day. Huge, fantastic day for Reinhardt. Oh, and they win too, 43-14 over St. Andrews. Moving on along, we haven't had the defenders in our top 5 yet, and here they are. Dort, Cade McDaniel, 17 for 28 passing, 328 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He also not only had 17 completed passes, he had 16 carries on the day for 94 yards. That puts him at 422 yards of total offense for the day. Didn't have any touchdowns on the ground, but 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions. Dort with a 44-24 victory over Jamestown. That brings us to the Mustangs. And why not? Because they remain undefeated. They remain as the top team in the country. And here's some big numbers. Okay, let's just stop for a moment. Morningside 70, Dakota Wesleyan 14. Final score, got the win. We know that's happening, okay? Some individual players, and a lot of folks saw time in this game. Now, we don't even have room on the graphic there for Joe Dolenchek's name. He did see time in the game, threw 4 touchdown passes, no picks on the day. Luke Johansson came in for him, threw a couple of touchdown passes as well. Consider these big numbers. Now, again, we go back to what Reinhardt did. Big numbers there for Arterson Solomon. KJ Williams, 3 carries, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2 of his 3 carries were for touchdowns. He averaged 47.3 yards per carry. 3 carries, 142 yards. Big day for Williams. How about a couple of receivers? Zach Norton, we've talked about him so many times. 4 receptions, 123 yards receiving. That means he averaged 30.75 yards per reception and had 3 touchdowns. Austin Johnson, another 4 receptions, 120 yards receiving. Means he averaged right at 30 yards receiving for the day. 2 touchdown catches for Johnson as well. Another big day for Morningside. They're cruising through the regular season, pretty much have the GPAC locked up. And so we'll see how this all pans out. Obviously, mathematically, still a couple of teams that could factor in, both Northwestern and Midland. We've talked about them as well. But Morningside is cruising right now. The defending national champions can remain undefeated here in 2022. So what did you think? Top 5 lineup with your top 5? I would love to hear who you think should be in the top 5. Let us know in the comment sections. Let us know below. We will also, by the way, we will have this in the description, the link to the Patreon page in the description. If you'd like to be a part, you'd like to support us here at Midwest Sportsnet, we would appreciate that. I want to say thanks to everybody for watching tonight. Hey, comment and let us know from where you are watching. I know in our 2 comments already right now, I know where Vince is watching from. He's in Phoenix. Jake is in Wichita. Shout out to those guys, but please feel free to comment and enjoy the ride. Now, programming notes for the rest of the week. Again, please like this video. Please take the time to share this video, and please subscribe to the channel. We are continuing to grow here, and we are pushing toward the 1,200 subscriber mark. So that's where we are. I know lots of channels out there that are a little bit bigger than we are, but you know what? We're growing, and we appreciate you watching. So programming note, we will get to the playoff picture in NAIA football. We are also looking to talk a little NAIA volleyball as the week goes on, as the regular season is winding down. And Saturday, we will be broadcasting live from Weatherford, Oklahoma. I will be on the call for the GAC Women's Soccer Championship on that day, and we'll try to get you some information. We'll broadcast live from Weatherford on the campus of Southwestern Oklahoma State University. That is on Saturday. So please tune in for that, and we'll keep you posted on when these things are going live. In the meantime, it is so much fun visiting with you about small college sports. We love talking about the NAIA. We love talking about Division II. We like talking about football. We like talking about volleyball. There have been some basketball coaches and more coaches interviews coming up as we're getting into the 22-23 season. We love basketball. We like talking wrestling. How about Grandview Wrestling? We'll talk about that. Baseball, softball, you name it. We're going to talk small college sports here on Midwest Sportsnet. Small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond. So again, thanks for watching. Shout out again to our top 5 performers on the day. Marquise Burgess from Kaiser, Xavier Malone from Pikeville, as well as Arders and Solomon from Reinhardt, McDaniel from Dort, Williams, Norton, Johnson. I have to throw in Dolencheck too from Morningside. Fantastic performers. Who's going to be there next week? We'll be back to live stream on Monday night next week. In the meantime, thanks again so much for watching. God bless you all. You guys have a great night.